Okay, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be melting down a little wax, cappings and whole comb, stuff like that. What I've got here is this is an old turkey fryer that I had. This is a burner that I bought off Facebook Marketplace, along with that 80 quart pot. I guess it's for crab boils. Then also, like I said, I got the crawfish boil pot, stainless steel pot. I don't know how many quarts that is. This is actually an old canning pot. It had a canning rack in it. There's my newest pot. I got from a flea market type thrift store. It was a little more than I wanted to pay for a pot, but this thing is about 1/4 of an inch of heavy aluminum. So this thing will last forever unless I do something stupid like run over it with a tractor. But I got plenty of water. Don't have water here at the shop, so I filled all these up with water. I don't think I'll use nearly that much water. I've got some wax, some unfiltered wax that I had bought from a guy that I've been using to paint onto foundation. In here, I added a little bit of wax several days ago, so it's not all his. Some of mine nasty wax. But I'm gonna add that to the pot that I used to boil this wax that I've got, and then I'm gonna pour it through some strainers. I saw a video on the Bearded Bee. He's another beekeeper from Arkansas, and he had some grease filters that he used to filter his wax with. So I bought some off of Amazon. And that's what I'm going to be using today. There's a rack. It's restaurant grease filters is what it is. And that's what it looks like. Of course, you turn it around the other way, turn it upside down. Put it over a bucket, and then you pour your wax and water through these filters. They're like big coffee filters. So I'll see how that works. Maybe I can come out with one big cake of wax in that bucket there. That bucket's going to be the one I use. So I'm not going to have to use a whole lot of water because I can't really, you can't overfill it. So anyway, I'll show you how it's going a little farther into the process. Okay, got me some water on, heating the water up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of water in the bottom of that pot, and a little bit of water in the bottom of that pot, and may even put a little bit of water in the bottom of that once it's hot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this strainer, and I'm going to try to dip out as much as I can, and much of the big pieces of, solids, the dead bees, the cocoons from the comb and everything, and I'm gonna try to scoop those out, put them in this pot, and once I get everything, just about everything I can with this strainer, I'm gonna pour it into that pot. I got 3 filters there, just in case one of them, the top one gets clogged up, and I can just pull that one out, throw it in this pot here, and keep going. And then what I'll do later on is, after I get everything in this pot, I'll heat it up on the burner, and I'll filter it again into the bucket. And then the stuff, all the solids and everything that go in this bucket, I'll melt them down, or I'll heat them up again and get what little bit of wax I can out of it. I'll probably just heat it up and let it sit there overnight, let the wax come to the top, and then I'll pull the wax off the top of the water and probably melt it down one more time. After that, I'll melt the wax that I have in there and the wax I have in there down one more time, and then I'll run them through the filters for the final time. So I'm hoping that works out. This is really the first time I've tried to process wax like this, so we'll see. Okay, here's what I've got. I've got wax. I'm gonna turn that down a little bit. It's boiling a little too hard on the sides. I'm gonna turn it down, try to slow it down a little bit. But I got all my wax in there, all the gold comb, the cappings and everything, and I also poured the wax from my turkey baster, turkey roaster. I'm gonna turn that down some more. It's starting to boil pretty hard. And I heated some water. There's some hot water in there. There's hot water in there, and there's not any hot water in there yet. So I'm gonna let this boil down to make sure I get all the solids boiled out of the wax, and then I'm gonna start straining. So I only left about 3 inches of water in the bottom of that, so I'm hoping that that's gonna give me quite a bit of wax. Still need to slow down that boiling a little bit, but anyway, I'll strain some of it out and show you how it looks then. One thing I do want to suggest or get your opinions on it. I was thinking about when I put all the solids in there, I thought, wouldn't it be nice to be able to hold all the solids down on the bottom of the pan so all the wax could come up to the top, you know, while you're boiling it. And I was frying some bacon this morning for breakfast, and I had one of those splatter guards, one of those little screen splatter guards on it, on the skillet, and I thought, well, couldn't you cut the handle off of one of those and just put it on top of the solids and weigh it down with a rock or maybe a brick or something, a couple of rocks, a couple of bricks, to hold the solids at the bottom, boil it for just a little while. All that wax will come to the surface, and then just shut it off, let it cool. So that'll separate your big solids from some wax. I mean, there's not going to be a whole lot of wax left in that, I hope, after I get done straining. But what do you think? You think it would work? I think I've got a smaller splatter guard at home. It's an older one that I could probably use if I could cut the handle off of it, set it down on there, and weigh it down. Anyway, I may try that in a later, you know, some other time. But for now, I'm just going to do it like this. Okay, what I've got now is there's my wax. I just turned it off. It just quit boiling. What I've been doing is I've been scooping up solids with that strainer and then mashing them down with that silicone spoon there, and trying to get all the wax I could out of the solids into this pot. So some of the solids, some of the bigger solids and everything are still on the bottom. I'm about to start straining it. I'm pour it into there and see what I got, and then I'm gonna probably do it again, and I'm just gonna strain it a couple of times today, or filter it a couple of times today, see how clean I can get it, and see if it needs another filter. Okay, here's how those filters work. I mean, you can see the steady stream of wax coming out of there. If it was warmer today, it probably would be better, but they're working good so far. I'm not seeing a whole lot of junk in it yet. And like I said, that's 3 filters right there. So I may be looking at some pretty clean stuff after I get done today. Well, here's what happens when you get impatient and you fill it up too quickly. The sides folded down. Well, reason I got irritated was the filters that came with the rack, with the support there. They kept melting through. I had a couple of times, so this whole batch is going to have to be refiltered again, at least another time. Once this quits draining, that's the last of it, luckily enough. Once it quits draining, I'm going to go ahead and heat it back up a little more, and then I'm going to try to filter it back into this pot after I clean it up, to see if I can get it at least partially clean. Right now, I'm afraid my wax is starting to get cooled off enough that it's having a hard time getting through. These filters seem like they're a lot thicker and a lot better than the other ones, so hopefully it'll work. Okay, I threw those things away. Those are the filters that came with the rack. They were way thinner, and they actually melted. I didn't think they would do that. They're made to filter hot oil. I mean, for goodness sake, you wouldn't think they'd melt. Now these haven't melted. That was my mistake. I poured too much in it. I shouldn't have poured any over that last little support there. But I wanted to go ahead and get all of it out of the pot. And I'm reheating this pot so I can go ahead and clean it out. I'm probably going to just add all the stuff that's left in here into that one. That's the junk pot. You can see it's still going to have a little bit of wax in it. But I'm probably going to just add everything that's in here into that, so I can go ahead and put this one on the burner and get it warmed up again so I can pour it in the bucket. It's still got a little stream of wax going through, and it's almost done. So I'm going to wait until it either stops dripping or it finishes. I mean, there's quite a bit of junk in the bottom of that. There was in the bottom of this pot, so hopefully the rest of the effort will go a little smoother. So here's the deal. When I ordered the rack, there were several different options on Amazon. One of them was that it included 10 of these rayon cloth filter cones. This is what came with that rack. Okay, don't use those. They are, I mean, I don't even think I would use them as a coffee filter. They're pretty thin. Luckily I bought an extra box of 50. I mean, there's 50 in here, and there's 10 in there. This box is a whole lot thicker. The filters themselves, if I can get this out one-handed, the filters themselves are way thicker. I mean, you can tell the difference. I'm not sure what it's made out of. It says non-woven filter cones. Now I don't know if that means that it's but I mean, you can tell it looks like they look like the coffee filters we use at home. I mean, we use the cone shaped coffee filters in our coffee maker, but they're much better than the ones that came with it. Let's see if I can. I mean, you can see the difference just in holding them up to the sun. One of them is really thin. This one's the one that's thin. This is the one that came with the rack, and this one's the one that I ordered, the extra ones. So I mean, you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference in the way they're made. So anyway, if you get one, you're better off just to get the rack itself and then order a box of good filters. So don't get sucked into the same thing I did. Okay, here's something I found out. Even though this pot is very thick. It's aluminum. It holds heat very well, but that square, you can see that how that top is squared off there, is not very conducive to pouring. Make sure you have your burner turned off when you start pouring, because this stuff, wax, when it gets hot, is flammable. So that could have been really ugly right there. But what I did is, this one, the outside filter started getting clogged up. So what I did is I took it off, left the bottom two. It seems like, I mean, I could probably just use one filter, because it seems like this outside filter is catching everything. Because when I took it off, this filter underneath it was just clean as it could be, other than just having wax on it. But right now, I'm almost finished transferring this to that. And then I'm just going to heat it up again a little bit, and I'm going to go to the bucket and see how clean it is there. I'm going to have to lift that up too, because I don't have enough room in it. I'm going to have to hold it up once this wax gets down a little more. And it also pours a lot better when it's warm. So if you sit very long, you might stick a flame to it again, warm it back up. Of course, like I said, this thick aluminum pot here, I mean, it's probably 1/4 inch thick or better. It holds the heat very well. It's kind of cool out here today though, so if I heat it up just a little bit more, it pours a lot better, or goes through the filter a lot better. So anyway, I'll be back. Okay, that's my junk pot. It's just, I just put it on, starting to boil. This is the wax that the finished product. We'll cover that, maybe keep it from cracking. But the last filter that I ran that through it just had very little sediment in it, so that should be some really nice looking wax. There shouldn't be hardly any gunk on the bottom. I mean, there's going to be some, but there shouldn't be much gunk on the bottom of that at all. And that should give me a pretty large cake of wax. I mean, you're looking at, that's a 5-gallon bucket, so you're looking at 5 gallons there, and there may be, my estimation, there may be a gallon of water in the bottom of that. So you're looking at a pretty nice cake of wax. So that's going to be real nice to have. And this is just going to be, there's not going to be much left in that. I'm going to boil it pretty hard, try to get all the wax out of the filters. So you can see some of those filters that I used are in there, all that gunk. I'm going to try to strain that out. What I strain out of there is going in this little bucket here, and it'll probably be just be thrown away, go to the landfill or something, because there's not going to be a whole lot of wax left in it. What I'll do with this is I'll boil it down, and then strain it out, and what's left in there I'll just leave it in a pot and let it separate and let the wax come to the top, and then maybe throw it in with the next time I process wax, and go from there. But at least the big particles will be taken out of it. So you can see all these filters that I use. They're trying to get all the wax out of them, wax out all this other stuff. So I'm probably going to boil this pretty hard, trying to get most of the wax out of it and start straining it. Okay, it's 2 days later. It's actually about a day and a half, but it's 2 days later, and I haven't looked at this yet. I want to see that. I got a little bit of wax off of that. It's not horrendously dirty, but let's see if I can get it out of here. Yeah, I got quite a bit of wax out of that. That was the junk. So, I mean, it's got some stuff on it, and it's got some stuff in it too still. So, yeah, that still needs to be run through a filter again. This is the one. There's the nasty water. This is the one I'm kind of anxious to see. Let me clean my hand off here. It cracked, but there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, I can't even push it down into the water. So I'm just gonna have to flip this out on the tailgate of my truck. See if I can get it out of here. I'm gonna take these over to the house and spray them off. Okay, you can see the water coming out. I don't know how, well, it hadn't released yet from the bucket. Well, it looks like I had more water than I thought I did in there. Okay. There it is. Alright. Well, not as big as I was hoping for, but that's a respectable cake of wax. So, I don't know how much it weighs. I mean, that's solid wax. So, and I mean, there's no junk on the bottom at all. So that's ready to be cut off in pieces and melted down for whatever. So I could melt them both down again and run them through a filter. That one doesn't need a filter. Like I said, I mean, there might be a little piece or two of stuff in there, but that's for the most part clean wax. So, yeah, I'm gonna take that to the house and hose them both off, and then I'm gonna clean up my buckets and stuff. Buckets and the pots. But anyway, that turned out pretty good. I got quite a bit of wax. That's probably I don't know, 15-pound wax, something like that. So, all right, thanks for watching. Okay. I don't know what that is. It's almost like a foam that hardened on there. It's kind of almost like maybe it was pollen or something, because it's. But anyway, like I said, it turned out better than I thought it would. All right, now to refill my pots and go clean everything up.